Here's my long-awaited P90 neck-through guitar. I had to stop working on this right at the beginning of winter. Just got too cold out in the shop to work on it. So now I'm starting to put it together. It's in the matte finish now. And I already installed the control pots in here and the switch. And I put the string through ferrules in. Here's what it looks like in the control cavity so far. It's not wired yet. So as I go along here, I'll put it together. And I've got to find my tripod, put my camera on it, and I might bring it back in later on and show you how the rest of this is going together as I go. And we'll go from there. But anyway, there's the guitar so far. Like I said, it's in the matte finish. I just finished running some steel wool over it to kind of make things look even. And now I'm going to reassemble the bridge and put it on. And then I'll probably go ahead and set the pickups in place. And then I'll flip it over and start wiring everything up. And I'll probably put the tuners in last. I still have to make the nut for it here. And so in the next day or two, I should have this up and running. And we'll see anyway. Got a couple spots here still I need to go back over it with some sandpaper. It feels a little rough there. But all in all, it's coming out just the way I want it. I didn't want it shiny. I like that dull look that it has. Every guitar I make here lately has all been high gloss, and so I got tired of high gloss, so the walnut lends itself to being dull and or flat or semi-gloss, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but it's feeling really good other than that one spot there. I can't believe I missed that. Right up in there. Oh well, I got some sandpaper here. I'll sand on that a little bit, get it smoother. But I'm really liking it. Can't wait to hear it. Like I said, it's going to have P90s in it. They were custom-made P90s by John Williams of GuitarAttack.com. And once you hear this guitar, if you want a set, just get a hold of him through Guitar Attack, and he's got a link there where he'll get a hold of you and he'll make you a set. But anyway, that's where it's at right now, and hopefully I'll have this up and running in a couple of days. Because once you assemble it, then you got to make sure all your frets are level and all that stuff, so it's hard telling what kind of a procedure I'm going to have to do with that. Because like I said, I started this last summer, and I didn't quite get it done because of winter hitting in. But now that the weather out here is a lot better, I'm able to get back out in the shop. Today it's in my guitar room. That's where I usually assemble my guitars, is in my guitar room. And so I'll finish assembling this, and then like I said, I'm going to look for my tripod. I might get this set up on a tripod so you can watch me finish doing the assembly. Alrighty, I'll talk at you later. Alright, here's the bridge I'm going to put on it. I got to reassemble it. I had to take it all apart to get it finalized on here. So there's all the parts for it. What I usually do is the screws that hold the bridge on, I put them in that tape so I wouldn't lose them. And I think that's a good way to keep your things when you're wanting to hang on to them. And then the brass or bronze saddles. And then there's the springs and some more screws. I think these are the screws for the saddles. And some extra screws and things that I have. I think these are actually for the bridge. And I don't remember what, these are for the tuners. These are the tuners. If you remember in one of my videos, I drilled holes through some pennies to make them copper washers. So only a little bit of that copper shows. I like copper. That's why the inlay's got a little bit of copper in it. If you notice on the knobs, they have copper on it. And I'm just going to splash it with just a tiny bit of copper here and there. And but anyway, back on the bridge. One of the things you can't forget is you got to put a ground wire in for your bridge. And I already have the hole drilled right there for it. But what I like to do is I'm going to push this wire back just a little bit. And what I usually like to do, I like to put right there on that wire a little bit more solder. This pushback wire that I use has already been pre-soldered. I'd like to add just a little bit more to that. But I think what I'm going to do on this, I think I mentioned it before, was I will sand some of this off the back here, wherever that, so that ground wire has a good connection to the bridge. I see a lot of videos where people don't sand the paint off the backs of the bridges and they have grounding issues. Well, that's where it's at. And so that's what I'll do. I'll sand the back of this off on the side that the wire is going to go, so that when the wire's laying there, it'll make contact there. I think what I'm going to do is, look in my drawer here. Yes, I have this copper tape, and I use it for off and on. I use it for guitar shielding and stuff like that. And while I'm talking about guitar shielding, is most of my guitars now I don't shield them, and I think it's an over-practiced thing. Some guys swear by it, and that's okay. You know, if that's what you feel more comfortable putting copper shielding tape in, or some kind of a shielding tape in, that's fine. But you don't always need it. And at some point, if I feel like I need to put it in there, I'll put it in there, but I'm not going to put it in there now. So what I'm going to do is cut off a little piece of that and tape it right to this, where that bridge is going to go. And in that way, the wire will have a contact point here, and it'll have a contact point on the bridge. And that should make a good grounding place. Well, anyway, so I'm just going to take a piece of this, lay it on there. So I'm going to lay that on there. Roughly like that. Just like that. And we'll turn my soldering iron on over there. What I have over there in the corner is I have an adjustable soldering iron. Sorry, I've got a slight allergy thing going on today. So anyway, let it warm up. Usually doesn't take very long for it to warm up. Once it kind of gets up to temperature there, you just take that. I take a piece of solder, solder, whatever you guys want to name it today. So then I just take and I'll add some of that right to the end of that wire. That's just to make sure that I have enough on there to make a connection. So the next thing now I'll do is sand or scrape the back side of this off. Helps get sandpaper side. So as you can see, so I sanded some of that off. I'll take a little bit of that steel wool to that. There you go. So now you take your wire, so push back housing back some more. Stick that down on in there. Put your wire down on it. See how it rests on that copper? Can you see that on there? Anyway, the wire is resting on that piece of copper. Sanded that off. Now get ready to place that on there. Like so. Good. Now this one has 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mounting holes on there. Before you screw that down on there. All right, another thing I like to do before you put your screws, start screwing your screws down in there, is I'll use some of this stuff right here. You can use anything, you can spit on it if you wanted to, but always lubricate the screws before putting it in, before screwing them down into the holes. And trust me, you'll be glad you did. So once the bridge is mounted, then I'll put the bridge saddles in, and then once those are done, I'm going to go ahead and stick the pickups in it. And once those are in, then I'll go ahead and probably wire it up and I'll put the tuners on it, and then go from there, and then probably string it up, see how see how it's doing, and more than likely going to have to level the frets. I've only had out of, I don't know how many guitars I've built now, a whole bunch. Now, out of that bunch, I've only had 2 guitars I didn't have to re-level the frets on, and I don't know how in the heck that ever happened. But I have never seen a builder yet not having to go back through and re-level some of the frets on their builds. In fact, I was watching some guy today building a guitar. He got it all together, went to play it, and the frets up here got it out on him. So I don't know. He didn't ever show how he fixed it. He just said he fixed it. Now for me, I am not a big Bondo user. Some people have no qualms about using automotive Bondo in their guitars for filling in perfections and things. But what I know about Bondo, even on cars, it will eventually pull away and crack. And the thicker you use that Bondo, the more likelihood it will do that. And this hole here just don't seem like it's deep enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and drill it out some more. So anyway, I do not advise anybody to use Bondo in their guitars, in their guitar making. You know, if you're gonna build them. There's too many other ways you can fix your voids and cracks and stuff without using Bondo. Now here, that Bondo now makes a Bondo 4 wood. I have never used it. I don't know anybody that's used it, so I don't know how well it works. But I find that just mixing some wood dust up in with some CA glue or even wood glue works just as good as anything I've ever found. What it is, this neck through neck, I made it out of some of that really hard wood I had. I can't remember the name of it, but I made one whole guitar out of it. And it's tougher than steel. And so this screw is evidently wanting to go into one of those boards back there on the neck. It gets into that wood, and that wood, for whatever reason, likes to tighten up around it. Sometimes I get screws into that wood and I can't get it back out. It'll break the screw coming back out. I think I got it this time. Well, there's the bridge all put together. Like I said, now I'll probably go ahead and mount the P90s in it. But I think I'm going to call it a day. I sanded and steel wooled my top to get that satin finish. Put the bridge on, put the ground wire in for the bridge, put copper on the body for that wire to lay on, sanded the back of the bridge off to make a better grounding contact, put in my volume and control pot, put the 3-way switch in, flip this over, put this on, and there's the ground wire, and then the 2 pots, and then the 3-way switch. And this guitar is going to be my last neck through scratch build guitar I ever do. And so this is going to be the last one. Probably never build another one. And I hope it sounds as good as it looks. I think it looks good. Some of the things I haven't done on any of my builds was I put that turquoise in with the copper in there. It's got copper, little specks of copper in it. The other thing I did was I put the turquoise in on the fretboard so that it has the markers on the sides and on the top. So that was a first. And the other first I did, I put a 0 fret in it. And I just figured, well, if the 0 fret doesn't work, I'd always pop that out, cut that off, and put in a full nut on here. I did find the nut that I cut for this. It's right here. And for those of you that are wondering, yeah, it still needs to be cut down, but that's basically the nut. And I need to thin it down some this way. All this is doing now is just going to help hold the strings in place. That's all it does. It really doesn't. You can cut your slots as deep as you want now. Not going to hurt it. So what you want to do, you want your strings to rest on that fret. And that should give you some really low action. And hopefully without a whole lot of buzzing going on. What I did too was I had these wormholes and stuff in the wood. I didn't want to fill them in with anything, so I filled them in with turquoise and some of that copper. And I have other spots on the guitar I did the same thing with. And just to make it a little bit different from all my other builds. The other thing I did for the first time was I married these two woods together on the top. So that was something new I hadn't never done before. I tried to, on every build, try to do something a little bit different than I've ever done on the other ones, just to keep it interesting. But like I said, this will be my last neck through. I'm not going to build no more. And I love building neck through guitars. I did have another YouTube channel. I had to take it down because I had a stalker, and on that channel I had a whole bunch of my builds on there, and I lost all that footage. But anyway, a lot of those guitars on there were neck throughs. And what I'm going to be doing, I'll be doing some future videos of me playing some of my guitars that I built and style that this is my style I created. This here is from my 71 Les Paul. This up here is from a Telly. And I put those two together, only to find out other people have done it in the past. But if you look at that horn down there, it's about 2 inches shorter than a regular Telly. A regular Telly horn comes out further, almost even with the top horn. So now mine comes more of an angle. But anyway, we'll see what happens here in the next day or two with this, and I'll talk with you later. Bye.